Oh my goodness, I think I might be live. So I have issues on my desktop for some reason with live in Facebook, so I'm gonna have to work that out and find out why that's happening. And I've just tried to go in Zoom and there was no one coming in. So, but here I am. Let's go into the live forecast. So it's a big week, another big week, not as crazy as last week, mind. And this week is really more about feeling the emotions and everything that you were, you know, trying to do with regards to that emotional weight that you were going through and the issues and the problems that you were trying to really get to grips with. There was that problem, there was that issue, there was those repeated things coming up all the time. And what this week is trying to do now is trying to bring the courage that you need from the problem that you've been dealing with and really push that forward into movement. So the movement's going to be really significant. I think the biggest movements we're going to be feeling is that something in our life has to change. You know, this is going to be really, really important for you and your life and where that's going, like what needs to change, what's been coming up for you, what ways in which you can't carry on the way you have. And I think there's a lot fixed with regards to, number one, Venus in Taurus. Venus in Taurus is really about that relational field and what truly nourishes the female body. And I love this energy, not just because I'm a Taurian woman, but because Venus in Taurus, it's her home. It's those two go together. And it really is all about that deep space of the feminine. So how does the feminine feel? What does she feel like when she's being loved and cared for and nourished and in beauty and her sexual energy is really flowing? Venus is really about that sexual life force that lives in us, that brings beauty and opulence and all of those things. So it really asks us to bring that into the body because we're obviously in the Taurus energy. So we're moving from urgency into presence. We're not performing for others anymore. We're really trying to embody that in our own selves. And we're going to be really thinking about what nourishes us, what makes our senses activated, what is pleasurable, what is nourishing, what is stable. And I think when I get to this energy that my body's a really good conduit for telling me what's right for me and what isn't. Things like if you're in confusion, if you don't like the way certain things are, if it feels horrible or you're anticipating and all of that, think about how that weighs in your body compared to what feels good, what nourishes, what's pleasurable. I mean, as women, we've all probably been on a diet at one point in our life, and oh my goodness, how depriving that feels, how lack that feels, how, how bad that feels for us as women. We're not meant to be in those cycles. They're really patriarchal. We're meant to be in nourishment. We're meant to be in sustainability and in nourishment. And I think it's really asking you, where are you out of that nourishment, that beauty, that abundance, that luxury? Where in your life is that missing? If that is in a relational field or just purely in a relationship with you, what is your relationship with you like? And where are you still in this place that isn't beautifully abundant and sensual and really sexual for your body? You know, we all know how sexual it is to eat a piece of chocolate, or when we see something absolutely beautiful, amazing, like the sunset. And, I talk about nature a lot and how that's a really sensual experience. So what gives you a sensual experience? Because the more that you do these nourishing and these beautiful, enriching things, like anybody that knows me, like I surround myself with beautiful things, and that doesn't mean I need to be rich. I am the best thrift shopper. I just like really nice things. I'm a Taurus woman, So I'm going to go for the velvet, and I'm going to take the cake, and I'm going to buy those little bits from the charity or thrift store that make my surroundings feel beautiful and pretty and sensual. So I'm asking you all this week, what do you do and what can you do to make your life more sensual, more sexual, more beautiful, more in that realm? And what are you doing that has been in lack, in deprivation, in taking away from yourself, in allowing that energy to carry on in your life and not making that conscious? That's the movement we want as we come into this week. If you've had places in your life that has been in lack because of low self-worth, or you don't believe that you deserve those things, money, partners, love, luxury, chocolate, whatever it is, where have you neglected yourself and where can you bring that in? So I had some questions here. So after the fire of Aries, Venus is now asking us, what feels good in my body? What feels good in my body? And what feels bad in my body? What is worth staying for? What should I bring in? What should I stay in? And what are you building as a woman that will last? Something that you can build that allows this beauty, this nourishment, this goodness in your life. And I was speaking to a friend today, actually, on this transition in my life. I have had a really beautiful time here in France, but it's been very difficult. It's been very laborious. I live off grid, so that takes a lot of work for me as a single woman. And I said, I'm done with it. I'm done with this place of like always being in the graft and the hard work. I want something more nourishing and caring for me. So that's my beautiful statement in this environment, in this energy that we're coming in. So I think this works so lovely, this Venus in Taurus energy with the full moon in Libra, which is on the 1st, which is what, Wednesday? So the full pink moon, oh yes, like my Venus loves that it's pink, is on about your relational truth. And I've just spoke about your relationship with yourself. But that could be reflected in your partner's relationship with your partner, the relationship that you don't have, the relationship with your parents or with the people at work. Be thinking about how balanced that is and stop lying to yourself. Stop pretending things are in balance when they're not. Notice what isn't in balance. Is the equal play in that relationship? Is it as giving as it's taking? Is there, a whole exchange going on that feels balanced and good? And is there emotional truth there? And I think that's important, especially in close relationships, that you're emotionally true, that I feel this way, this makes me feel. Because this pink new moon is really going to show us where we overgive, where are we overgiving in relationships, and where do we under-receive. Every relationship should be equal in that, and it doesn't matter who that is, mum, dad, sister, friend. Like, are you in an equal giving and receiving relationship? Where there's harmony or disharmony, where does that appear in certain relationships? And really, truly, moreover, about, sorry, my hand's hurting as I'm holding my phone, and more about what has been maintained through avoidance. We can all have really good relationships, and I always say to people in therapy that there is this space where people say, oh, I had a good childhood, like I had no problems, but it's really not the truth. It's because there has been a repression and avoidance. It's something that they've not wanted to look at. People often talk about relationships and will say, well, relationships have been good, they're okay, but really they've been repressing the truth about that relationship and how it makes them feel and whether it is doing something, really good for them? Is it good? Is it allowing for evolution? Is it making their soul thrive? So ask yourself truthfully, is this really what I want? Is this the kind of exchange that I want in a relationship and in friendships and with family? So there's that. So anything out of balance in relationship needs to be looked at this week. And where you're not being met, have a think about those relations that you do not feel met in, and where you're not meeting yourself. That'll all definitely come up. So as much as this happens, Venus will square Pluto as well, which is all to do with money and power. So we've got love, money and power. Flipping heck, what a mix of energies. And that is going to bring intensity to relationships. So relationships you'll find this week are going to be really quite difficult, intense, power dynamics coming to the surface. So where are you fighting to be heard, for example, or seen, or maybe one of you overrides the other? Work on power dynamics in all your relationships, be in more harmony and balance. This power, where there is power in my Jungian world, where there is power, there is a lack of love. And generally in relations, we're trying to overpower, like be the nicest, be the kindest, be the most peaceful, be the most financially stable, whatever it is. So just recognizing your own fight for power in any relationship with anybody can really help us evolve as people. I'm talking about finances. Finances are really going to come up under this Venus squares Pluto. What is your financial situation like right now? And what is that reflective of? Especially with regards to the feminine, I think this is a big piece for women as we come into talking and discussing how patriarchy is really disempowering the feminine and strangling the feminine in our world. But we can't be victims of that. I place patriarchy as not a man thing, but a man and woman thing. We hold the principle of male and female energy within all of us. And so I like to look at also that patriarchal pressure that is capping my financial security and abundance, and that lives within me. And I think it's worth looking at in our psyche, which part of us is financially repressive, what part of us isn't, allows this masculine principle to earn more money than the feminine principle in the world and therefore within us. So finances are going to come up this week. What are your finances like? Why are they like that? And what can you do to get out of any situations that you might not want to be in financially? What does that mean? Especially with, Venus is one of the archetypes that's super independent. She doesn't depend on men in the myths for anything. In the archetypal, she depends on herself. So have a think about your independence in your financial world. Can you stand alone? And if not, why not? And there'll be lots of hidden truths with regards to A, your financial situation, and B, your relationships with money and people and men, of course. So that's all coming up with that Venus square. I think what this could show us about, and again, I've just wrote some key points down here for myself, is control patterns. What are you controlling? I was speaking to someone this week about the control of money. Like, how do we control that? Do we live in lack of that? Because that it as well can be a control thing. Where is our emotional attachments, again, to money, to partners? And where is the balance of giving and receiving? So if we're working all the time and we're really poor, it's out of balance. Like, how can that be rebalanced? And I think this Venus squares Pluto and the Venus and the pink moon, for the feminine, is really showing us where we can be totally, really financially and all the other ways independent as women and really thrive. Like, how do we feel that? How do we do it? I think these are key questions for matriarchy rising also. It's beautiful in the idealization that a matriarchy and patriarchy will live together one day and that they would have a dynamic role between each other. But how's that forming in you right now in your world as we move through these incredible times that we're in? We're on the wind, all of this Venus energy. I'm really feeling the Venus energy, but all of that Venus energy is totally on the back of the Aries, and the Aries energy is still very active in trying to bring us into action. We're coming out of courage. We're getting that courage. We've got it, and we're ready to move forwards with it. There's going to be a bit of tension here because Taurus is very slow down, feel, stabilize yourself, and Aries is like go, 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 move. So we want to feel that there might be that push-pull dynamic in us, and how to work with this is to move, but not from urgency, but from feeling the movement, from being in the body and feeling the movement somatically rather than through triggers, emotions, and that those feelings that we get when we're in stress or we're under pressure. So making movements because we're embodied and we feel stable. And then making choices. Choice will come up this week from very grounded truth. That's really important, from groundedness, not from urgency or panic. So the deeper theme this week is that you already know what in your life needs changing. You already know deep down inside how you cannot carry going on in the way that you have in your relationship, in your work, in your relationship with yourself, in your finances. And it might be all of them. I mean, I'm thinking, holy Lord, there's so much for me to work on in this energy. But you're being asked in this energy to live what truly matters to you. What truly matters to you. In this week's energy, ask yourself, what really matters to me? I had a woman say to me today online, I was finding a relationship that was nurturing and loving really mattered to me, and it's manifested for her. So what really matters for you? What can you say this week you really want, you really need? Because that's the kind of action that you're going to need to take. You get the courage to make that thing happen. What is it? What is it you want to make happen? And go for it and put the energy in it. So if you want in a loving relationship, put your energy into finding one. If you want to get out of a relationship that's out of balance, take the first step. If you want to get out your financial situation, think about the first step of changing that. But nothing changes if we stay the same. And Aries really, really drums that in for us. Stand in your capability. Know that you are capable. You were born capable. You're a woman. You're amazing. But what is holding you back? What is holding you back? Fear, lack of courage, a childhood wound, you worried that you'll upset people. Identify what holds you back so that you can unlock from it. This is another key thing. Identify what it is. For me, I always feel everything laced with fear. There's always an underlying fear. Why won't I take that bigger chance? Why won't I jump into that? It's generally a fear. And when I feel fear, I know that the other side of it is what I want, and I face the fear. I say, well, this is going to make me feel uncomfortable, but you know what? I'm going to do it anyway, because that's going to lead me to what I want. So stand in your capability. Know that you are truly capable of all the things you want, but have clarity about exactly what you want. I, for years, have done not vision boards as such, but I always make sure I've got a book that I write down and be explicitly clear to me what I want, what holds me back, and the steps that I need to make it happen. Because those three things are key. what you want, what holds you back, and how you make it happen. If you can identify those three things, you can begin to start to put strategies in place to stop yourself going round in the loops of life that you have found yourself in. I used to remember before doing the Jungian work, I always used to like blame certain things. But when I took ownership, no, you are stuck in this situation because you're not aware of something that needs to be moved. And that is completely empowering for women when they realize that everything is within their power. They just need to make it conscious, know what holds them back, and then what will direct them forward. Make it clear, write it down. So some bullet points I've got for this week's reading is all this feminine energy. We're on about like the patriarchy and the matriarchy. You know, I see that language now all over the internet, and I'm really glad. But that feminine energy is really strong in Venus when it's all about love and beauty and really magnetizing it, you know, bringing that in, trusting that that is there for you if you really desire it. But what are you doing about it? Venus took ownership. Venus, I was teaching this in the Goddess with Goddess in Every Woman last month, that the Venus archetype is one that, you know, she wanted to consummate every relationship she was in. She wanted to have sex with every man she met. But that's what she wanted. That was her desire. And she let go of everybody's judgment of her, whether that was right, that was wrong. It's what she wanted. She was completely magnetic because she owned what she desired and she didn't care. She carried on emitting that frequency, and that frequency met her. So what are you emitting as a woman? What are you sending out? Are you sending depravity and lack and the victim? Or like, what is it you're sending out? And what would you like to send out that could come in return? Think about it. Bring balance into your relationships, all relationships. Take a good look at them. What is this relationship like? My friendship, my family, my work, my lover. Can I be radically honest with myself on what that relationship is like? What is out of balance and what needs to be changed? I would really look at that through a microscope. When you're looking at that and anything this week, what is your body telling you? What is it trying to show you? I had a session with someone this morning, and that person felt nauseous. And when I asked her to feel the nausea, to go into the nausea, instead of repressing the nausea, what did that show her? Well, it showed her a big fear. And then if I said, feel it, go into that feeling, there's something there, and it was preventing her doing something. And she needed to sit with the repression. This is very normal in all of us psychosomatically, that if we've got something going on with the body, what are you not prepared to feel? What are you repressing? We've been taught to repress as women. What are you repressing? So anything going on with your body this week, be in dialogue with it, speak to it, allow the emotion to come from that place. Stop overgiving. I know you're all listening to this. I mean, I'm preaching to myself. Stop overgiving where there is no exchange in giving back. We don't give to give back, but we do as women often find ourselves in situations where we are giving too much and we are not receiving. And we need to be aware of that. Where am I giving, and nothing's coming back? Because that is a sign that you need to change something. Move forward this week, but in alignment. Be steady with your moving forward. Do not make any radical, quick decisions from a wound or from fear. Be in your body, be calm, and let that movement come through in alignment. Does it feel aligned? Yes or no? It's simple, but we often get into our heads about it. choosing alignment that is nourishing. The alignment should nourish you. The alignment should allow you to grow. It doesn't mean exciting and happy and really comfortable. It means it grows you. It means it offers you something. It means that it takes you somewhere that you want to go. So look out for those opportunities and really allow all the truths, the truth from the relationship with people, the relationship with yourself, your lack of desire, the lack of nourishment, all of that. Let the truth that reveals itself this week reshape you and your connections. So yeah, it's a really lovely week for being more aware of what isn't nourishing you, being more aware of where you are in lack, where you are not in the beauty and magnetism and luxury of Venus, and those very things that are keeping you in loops, that are not allowing you to move forward. That's your work this week. I think it's a wonderful week of work. For me, it's going to bring some clarity on some spaces that I still feel stuck in. And I'm so grateful for the fire of Aries that's going to help me move all of those things. And I am determined to move some of the things that have been going on and round for me. And I hope you are too. As a field of women, as a force field of women, trying to do this work, looking at the planets, astropsychology. This is what I'm studying. I'm doing my psychological astrology studies and really applying what the stars is saying to us in our body, in our personality, in our wounds. All of those things are a deep recipe, a divine recipe. The cosmos is divine, the astrology is divine, and it gives us a map on what to work with. And that's my pledge to you, that I will deliver as much as I can in the knowledge I have in my deep study of psychology and my newer study of astrology at a training level, that really allows us to make changes in our world and not just float around in the fantasy of what things are, but really applying it to our own behaviors. I am having a free class on Thursday evening. I am doing a sacred sexual class for those women that are thinking about coming into some of my sacred sexuality work. What does that look like? How do I teach it? I've done this work for over 25 years. I've got many women that I've trained in sacred sexuality. So this activation class is for anyone. Even if you're just curious, come and find out what the class is about, because I'm going to do a sacred sexual activation. This energy that I'm talking about now, the Venus energy, is all based in the Eros. It's all based in sacred sex. It's all based on that life force that's God-given to all women, that we may have shut down for a variety of reasons. But the sacred sexual life force in you is a divine movement that's trying to move through your mind, your body, and your soul, so that you are of a divine service to this world. So if you're interested in the activation class, it's Thursday evening. We'll place the link in the bio. It's completely free. Share it with friends and come along and be part of this energy where we're exalting the feminine in her sexual energy and saying, yes, our sexual energy is important. And I believe that if as many women as we can get on board with alivening that sacred sexuality within themselves, we can make massive changes in this planet. And the women I've led into this work have. There's an amazing field of women around me that have done this work and have really seen changes in the way they see life, the way they see their body, and with a deep desire now that they want to bring into the world. So if that sounds like you and this is sparking up some interest, come, you're invited. I would love to start this activation within you. So have a great week. Flood yourself in Venus energy, do gorgeous things for yourselves, enjoy and dig deep, because it will be worth it. Sending you love and bye for now.